This she's doing a reaction video to uh would you let your mom move in? And apparently they only question guys. I don't know I haven't seen the original video. I don't think it's relevant, so I don't feel need to go over there because I'm solely focusing on what her take was, at least in part of this video, as to like why that is. And it goes down the typical pathway of she mentions well, it's because they just treat the boys better and then they just say fuck you. She didn't say those words, but that's how I take it. But we're gonna go right ahead.
Would I let my mom move in with me? No.
Would I let my mom move in with me? No. We having that question now. Me and my mom is my trigger. Like, I can't do nothing if I didn't clean something up or I ain't listen to the right sermon on my phone.
Like off the strength, or just because, or because she get up in age, or what?
I love you, Mom. No. Not a chance. Mama. Once she start getting older and she needs somewhere to go, if it's up to me, she going to a home. A nice one. I'll come visit. My mom's not staying with me. Love you, but no.
Well, I'll let my mom move in with me, and then I'll get another house. But, you know what I'm saying? I have like a side house.
Let's be clear. We don't know how many dudes they interviewed that said yes, and if they just clip these because of the participation in the comment section and all that. But as so far with all the no's, you're still getting a I will do for her, and that is extremely overlooked. Now, am I going to pretend that there is no man on planet Earth who's just selfish and self-centered to where he doesn't give a fuck that his mom did him right? Obviously not. Psychopaths exist. But I don't think they're getting any credit for the whole. I don't like her at all. However, I'll foot the bill for the home. Hell, I'll foot the bill for a new spot, and she can have this one. I don't give a fuck. I'll do that much, but I just can't tolerate her presence. And it's like this is not something I have not unheard of with women. I've heard plenty of women say, "Hell no, I'm not doing shit with her. I hate her. I don't want her around." But because these are moms, and again, that's where they're going to take it. It's just old boys are selfish, even though we give them the world.
I mean, I wouldn't say no. I'll just say that if it had to come to that, no, I'm telling you right now, Mom, you can't stay with me. Pick another one. You got 5 other more. I wouldn't say no. I mean,
and that's that's a real easy thing to look over. He said you got 5 other ones. He could listen. I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt for the sake of the conversation. Like I said, I don't know how much of a terrible person any of these dudes just are, but he could have saw those 5 siblings get way better treatment. He could have saw maybe that she appreciated their, I don't know, like school achievements or what the fuck ever. But these factors are absolutely important because just like with the whole marriage thing, we're at a point in society where because we don't need each other for survival, we're much more likely to reach a point where it's like, you didn't treat me the best, so I'm going to just let you die. All right? Be smart out there and don't get into any situations where I got to pull a plug because I'm definitely pulling it.
I mean, yeah.
This video has been going viral on TikTok for a few different reasons, I think. First off, I don't know if y'all remember who this is, but you just had to be there. I believe it was Vine. Like, this is way before TikTok. 2 of the brothers here, specifically this one and this one right here, they used to do content together. That's where a lot of us millennials know them from. Now, that could be one reason. Also, they're all brothers, allegedly. Now, What's also interesting about this is none of them seem like they want their mother to move in with them, which something that we talk about here on this channel quite.
Wait a minute. So, and I kind of glossed over this because I was listening to this while I was driving. So I kind of glossed over a few things. But if they're all brothers and they're talking about the same woman, how the fuck do they not have any credibility in this matter? You're talking about the same person. Now, if you want to say, oh, they are boys, so they were brainwashed by their father, you can entertain that. But we do kind of have to look into the fact that they're talking about the exact same person. But she said allegedly, so I guess take her with a grain of salt.
Frequently, the fact that a lot of children may not be okay with that. There is this idea for a lot of parents, unfortunately, that this is an automatic thing, and the more children you have, of course, there's a more likely chance at least one of your children would want you to move in with them or be okay with that. But what I found interesting about this is none of these brothers sound like they would actually let their mother move in with them. One of them even goes as far as to say, hey, she gonna go to a home, which I think this speaks to the dynamic of what happens in real life with a lot of people. And I do want to point out, no one sounds like they absolutely dislike their mother. They're like, one of them said, hey, she's my trigger. If somebody is your trigger, and some of the triggers or the first triggers a lot of people have is their parents. We have to be honest about that and also consider we don't know why they're saying what they're saying. A lot of people were raised in interesting family dynamics with their parents. In their adult life, when the idea of reintroducing them back into their life, in their living situation, that might not be something that they're okay with. And we don't know why. But before all of the parents...
Another thing is, like I said earlier, the whole need thing. We're at a point in society where we actively have for generations now said that, you know, you should be living separate from your parents, even though you're not getting a relationship, married, none of that. You should live separate from your parents, which I don't know why that's been a driving force in America. I just don't understand why that's absolutely a need. I personally, my thing is, as I've gone through life and looked at things, is why you actually should stay home as long as possible so that you can, you know, get more, you know, save up money, get a little more ahead in life and all that type of things. And but also that means that you have to raise your children in such a way that they don't hate you, right? So I think a lot of this stuff goes hand in hand with, you know, we're kind of rate that, you know, that the whole trope where you raise your kid till they're 18 so they can get out. Again, not sure why that's a thing, but that absolutely is like the opposite of what I think we should be doing in society.
Jump in my comments. Oh, the shame. They should be ashamed. How dare they not want to take care of their mother? I would at least say, let's consider, we don't know the family dynamics, and that does matter. It does. And it could just be that they want to have their own privacy. It could be anything. But I think this is going viral on social media for many different reasons. And I found it also interesting that they're all men. They're all men. Not that that should change anything, but there is an idea that when you have daughters, the daughters will be the one to step up. But what I also find interesting about the dynamics between sons and daughters a lot of the times is a lot of the parents, and I can't speak for everybody or every situation, but what I have seen is a lot of mothers sometimes treat their sons like they can't do no wrong. And I gotta say the quiet part out loud. A lot of mothers act like their sons can't do no wrong. And what will end up happening is that same son a lot of the time will look and say, no, get your daughter to do it. I'm not doing that. Which I also find interesting because we have to point out something here on this specific video and why I'm saying this. At the top, it says, I wish we had sisters. Why? What? Now, this could all be jokes.
So before she is into that, I just want to, I don't understand where that came from, whereas the mom just treats the son like he can do no wrong, or treats the original thing, the original quote that I've seen like years and years ago was mothers raise their daughters, but they something. I forget exactly how it go. I forget the proper wording. But the thing is, they raised their daughters. And somehow this was seen as like a detriment to the girls. It's like, well, if that's in fact true, wouldn't that mean she actually set you up for life? Like she actually gave you life skills and didn't give her son life skills? How would that be a good for him? That's a detriment. Like if you coddle him and he goes out into the real world and people going to see a fucking grown man, that's not helping him. So it's weird that that's automatically seen as like a, you know, she did good for the boy. She didn't. And it's possible, this is a bit of a reach, but it's possible that that's where the resentment came from, which is, wait a minute, I have no life skills. I gotta play catch up because I'm your fucking princess. Like, this is stupid. That's potential, you know. Again, it's a reach, but it's possible.
Because they are comedians. I'm not sure if they're joking about this one. I'm not sure. Can't confirm nor deny. But I do find it interesting that in real life, this is what I hear, and this is what it says here on the caption. They wish they had sisters. Or at least one of them is saying that. As if that's supposed to, like, it's almost like people are like, you know, the women are going to put up with anything. They'll put up with any, but men,
not necessarily. I wish we had sisters is so vague, even on this video. But hypothetically, let's just say that he's saying that because the sisters would be more willing to take the mom in. He's probably just assuming, because he doesn't have sisters, he's probably just assuming that they would have a bond, and she would just go with the daughter because it's easier for her to live with the daughter. Considering that they're both women, that's probably the guess there. Not that she'll put up with anything. I really hate that. That's the only. Here's the thing. I don't mind when people take a biased position. I hate when it's only one type of. That's the only consideration possible. It's not because any other reason other than we just think women will put up with anything. That's bullshit.
Have the boundaries. They'll be like, no, I'm not going to do it. You're not going to stress me out. I'm not going to allow you to come into my house with the BS. Like, but my sister, she'll.
So, this one girlfriend I had, she had an apartment, and at this particular time, she shared it with her mom. That was some annoying bullshit. Very annoying. According to my girlfriend at the time, she paid her rent. She paid her bills. And her mom lived with her. Unemployed. But it kind of felt like the mom, it was her apartment. That's kind of how I felt. To the point where she heard us going at it one night. And she tells me that her mom says she doesn't want to hear that anymore. So the solution isn't that her mom needs to just like put earplugs in. The solution was we gotta only do it when she's not around. Yeah, I didn't really go over it too often, you know. Like that it's like that's fucking stupid. Now, putting myself in that same position, sharing an apartment. Remember, this is from the perspective apparently that the mom is just single. I don't know about everybody else. I don't. I just know what I have seen from older single women who need to go live with someone else. They're fucking annoying. They're not the old helpful women that you see in the movies. The big mamas who make all this damn breakfast and shit. Who just love doing shit and being playful with the kids. No. They're in the way. They're bitchy. They complain a lot. They demand quite a bit. They need somebody to drive them around all fucking day. Every fucking day. Because, you know, they still got their life too. And they just don't mind being a fucking burden. In fact, you owe it to them that they are a burden. And she's a woman. So now you can't even just be like, all right, Pops, like maybe you don't say this, but like if you just want to walk around in your box because maybe you went to the kitchen or some shit. If it's a grown ass, if it's your pops there, it's like, oh, dude, get over it. Shut up. Like, you the one who want to fucking live here. But if it's your mom, can you really just be like, shut up, mom, my dick is out? You know, it's there are other considerations that you have to consider when you're doing the whole opposite gender parent babysitting thing.
Deal with it. And why is it that society even seems like they're okay with this idea? I got questions. Y'all tell me down below and tell me.
Why did you say society though? I mean, you just said, just as I said, you don't really know everybody else's setup and dynamics. Why are you just assuming society holds women to the standard? I don't understand that. Like, it could literally just be this whole internet bullshit thing, because the internet is full of bullshit.
What y'all think about this one? I need to go into the comments because this is so interesting. Now, the first one says something that I was just saying might be a possibility. There is a reason they are saying no. All caps on the no. I can't confirm nor deny. The second comment with the most traction says, everybody saying this is why you have a daughter. As a daughter, the answer is still no. What's interesting is that the daughter said find somebody else to do it. You better go back to your favorite child. Go back over there. Now, I'm not saying that their mother has those dynamics at them. I'm saying if there was a daughter, the dynamics and the conversation might shift a little bit. Like, I would have loved to see if they had a sister, what she would have said. Just for the plot, because I think because daughters are raised to be nurturing, like you're given a baby doll, but like when you're 5.
That part is really what triggered me to want to review this fucking video. It's like, what generation are you talking about? I'm a millennial. Y'all are not raised to be nurturers, bro. The fuck out of here. Y'all are raised to be what y'all are, which is shit talking boss bitches. You're not nurturing. Falling for guilt trips is not nurturing. So baby dolls? I can't remember the last time I seen a girl with those. I can't think of like elementary school. I can't think of any relatives. I don't recall ever. Hell, even my younger relatives, and I'm in my 30s. I don't see anybody buying Barbie dolls and all that shit until they're telling their daughters, hey, take care of this plastic baby. I'm not seeing that. I haven't seen that. Who are you talking about? I get really annoyed with this immediate put me in this victim box corner because it fits this thing I want to get across. One more time and I'll move on. Y'all are not nurturers. You can't. I literally did a video, I think yesterday, 2 days ago, something like that, where we're talking about abortion. They were just like, haha, hell yeah, I'm gonna get one. Fuck yeah. Hell, I'm gonna go fuck somebody tonight at the club and then trip myself down the steps the next morning to make sure I kill that little motherfucker. Where's the nurturing? I don't want to hear that.
And you're talking like, care for the.
And the reason that for this specific topic it triggers me is because now it's passed as this essentially like a grooming factor. We groom young women so that they take all the shit on planet Earth and never question it. Okay, well, how do we get feminism then? How do we get boss bitches then? How we get any type of rebellious female stage ever if we just raise y'all to be these obedient things? Like, how?
Little baby doll. And you know what? That baby doll is just practice. It's just practice. It might be practice for your kids, but it could be practice for your parents. Y'all ain't catching the play. And you think, oh, it's just a little cute doll. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being nurturing because it's in many of our natures to be nurturing. But do you?
I really want to know what you base that off of. I think at this point we just take tropes and just say them. Because I can't. But I repeat the last things that I said. How can you be any of that and say, "Oh, we're just in our nature to be nurturing"? Hey, I guess once the kid is here, I guess like when it's finally out of the womb, then at that point it's like a triggering nurture. I is that what the cell is? Because again, I can't do the whole nature by nurture nature thing with all the shit in play here. That doesn't. I don't buy it.
See how that same nurturing characteristic ends up being like used against you in such a way that you might not even know is going to be used against you.
One thing I thought of is there was a video that came out about 10 years ago, something like that, and the grandma was like going in on these two younger girls, saying, "Y'all treat us like we just a fucking daycare. We supposed to be able to see our grandkids here and there and love on them, kiss on them, and bye bye. Hell, maybe let them stay the night here and there. But y'all treat us like we're a fucking daycare. We got shit we want to do too. When we raised y'all and got y'all out the house, that was supposed to be it. How can a nurturing person be so quick to drop it off on the doorstep so they can go pussy pop at the club? I don't want to hear this nurture by nature shit. I don't want to hear that. That's not what I've ever seen. I have never seen that. Picking up the baby and burping it, that is not your default. Oh, I'm default like this. Because humans do that, including the ones with penises. They go, you got a shit? Oh, let me react to this some kind of way.
And your brothers might be plotting on you. And you didn't even know it. You didn't even know it. And all of the daughters, the sons, I need to know down below. I need y'all to comment. Are you letting your mother move in with you, or would you let your mother move in with you if she needed it? Now, this is going to be interesting.
No. I've seen the bullshit. No. It's not something that I would ever fall for. Here's the problem. One thing that I don't understand why when they're having these like man-woman debates, does any guy ever just brings up the fact that we grew up seeing the shit. Y'all said it in front of us, y'all did it in front of us. So we know the deal. We know that you're not needing a place to stay at 60 because, you and your husband were together for 40 years. He died first and you're going to sell the house, or you're going to give the house to another relative so that, they can be set, and then you'll move in with someone else, or you'll stay in your house and then someone who's nearby who doesn't have a house yet, who's in the family, will come and take care of you, and then they'll inherit it. No. The most typical situation here is you bullshitted your entire life. You pointed the finger your entire life. You talked a lot of shit your entire life. You did not take care of yourself at all your entire life. And because this common thing of, well, I popped out babies, that means I am automatically old, everything, and forever. That's the most typical situation, at least that I've seen, which is why so many people go, yeah, that wasn't enough. Fuck out of here.
Kind of nervous to see what the sentiments are. But this is so interesting. Now, here is what I was saying. The daughters are sounding off, and I'm glad. I'm glad y'all are saying the quiet part out loud, because there's been too many women that I've talked to that have this same experience. It says, mothers will worship their...
Let's look at that. Worship their sons and mistreat their daughters. But the daughters will be the ones taking care of their mothers in the end, while the king tossed them to the back burner. Can you just say this shit? Because this is how common exactly? Where a mom will just have a son that she likes and a daughter that she doesn't. How common is this? My mom had 3 boys. Her mom had 4 boys, 2 girls, some shit like that. And it was like a real weird type of setup too. Like the daughters were the oldest and the youngest. and it was that were set up. So with multiple of both, you can just, I guess, say that, oh, just treated the boys better and not the girls. I really hate that they can just throw this shit out there. What about the ones who hate hate the guy, so they kind of talk shit to the son, call him ugly, call him stupid, call him all these different types of names, but still expect him the whole "I'm your mama." We literally, I have literally seen enough content creators mention that. Not a whole lot, but I've seen enough. That somehow never comes up in these conversations. Only this example comes up, where the girl just so mistreated. All right, we're going to completely drop the situations where the mom hates the dad, son looks like identical to dad, therefore takes it out on himself. We're just going to completely ignore that existence, right?
Sons and mistreat their daughters, but the daughters will be the ones taking care of their mothers in the end, while the king tossed them to the back burner. Allegedly, can't confirm nor deny. Can't confirm nor deny. Others saying, shoot, my mother is the trigger, hit home. They're saying allegedly their moms triggered them too. And then they said allegedly, this is for the parents, the moms watching and updating those beneficiaries right now. Allegedly, this is them.
How many moms have a will? I mean, most people generally don't have a will, but seriously, like, how many moms have a will? And they have this problem. Think about how shit of a person you have to be to have a will, and still all your kids are like, fuck you. That will ain't shit to me.
This is them.
Honey, did you invite the minions over?
This is them. This is them. Now, because this topic went so viral online, I thought it was only right to see some of the viral reactions on TikTok, and this is one of them. So let's see. Does she agree?
So I'm watching this video where these men are being asked if they would allow their mothers to move in with them, and every single one of them said no, and they listed the reasons why. They named the different versions of toxicity that they couldn't deal with for long term, that they love their mothers, that they would want the best for them, that they would do everything absolutely possible to make sure that they are okay. However, living with them is simply not a solution. And why? Because they would make their lives miserable just because that is the track record that they've had. That is who they've decided to be. And it's unfortunate because when you go to the comments, instead of, I don't know, sanity, it was a whole bunch of women saying, see, ladies, this is exactly why you should be selfish. You should be thinking of yourself and taking care of yourself and not worrying about having kids. This is exactly why. This is why you should have a daughter. Well, where are the daughters? The daughters don't want them either. The daughter-in-laws don't want them either. The husbands left because they ain't want to deal with them. And instead of you having to own any accountability and say, hey, Mary Jo, maybe your attitude, your funky little attitude is what is keeping people from wanting to be around you for long periods of time. Perhaps not being the worst person in the room will get you liked by many, and they'll want to have you around. There was a time when grandmas were sweet. Grandmas looked out for you. Grandmas were who we defended. Now, we got to get away from these ladies because they are the worst. They bring you down for sport. They don't do anything that's not selfishly motivated.
My grandma used to bake cakes.
So, with her saying all that, I will say this. So, yeah, I mentioned how we might see things growing up, this and that, and understand that, and grow this whole, fuck you, I'm out of here. Even when I try to think about, like, the more respectable older women, like, that I know about, they're, like, one specifically in my head, have this weird thing of where it's very common in the black community. I'm not sure if it's common anywhere else, but like the criminals get a lot of attention. Well, yeah, it is common. They actually put in their TV shows like Malcolm in the Middle. It's a typical situation set up where all the degenerates, the in and out of jail, the 8,000 baby mamas, and they get a lot of attention because they just cause a whole lot of ruckus. Not that they're just being treated better. They consume so much attention. So even though this woman might not be like favoring and treating someone better than the other, it defaults work out to that because again, this person or these people are just so time and energy and resource consuming. Like her car. When I left high school and all that stuff, the person who helped me get a car was my granddad on my dad's side. But on my mom's side, with her mom, I seen so many different, they basically owned her car, like every car she had. So if I was like one of her kids, not her grandkids, I could definitely see that and go, why do these things get so much shit? They consume a lot. They get like so much attention, money, they get babied quite a bit. I can understand how their siblings might see that and go, yeah, if you ever need help, don't call me. Do not call me. Call these people who are always in some shit that you got to take care of. Even though I myself didn't see any type of, favoritism there. So I think sometimes that could be confusing as well.
Cookies, cakes, mac and cheese, collard greens, butter beans, with the ham hock. Okay, I will say this. That was a different time. I can't confirm nor deny what the grandmas are allegedly doing or not doing in current day society, but I will say this. They be working now. They be like, I got a job.
Oh, okay, and I'm glad I stopped it there. I'll start with that and then backtrack a little bit. The reason that they have jobs now is because, again, we're not putting anything into family construction. We're just saying we want to do whatever the fuck we want to do, and then the rest fall where it may, and then we expect what at the end, right? So you got to really, if you end up working at 60 because you don't have anybody to take care of you, you were involved yourself with very poor family construction. But the whole cooking, baking, all that, look at what we appreciate now. And this is why I hate those happiness meters and things that they do in studies. How they're like, women today are like 40 with no kids are the happiest. Or women back then with family, they're the happy. It's like, it's really hard to gauge those. I really think those are kind of really stupid. However, if you look at what we favor today, or what we like to do today, and keeping it with women, even though yes, I know men do this too, but we're talking about how mothers may end up in blah blah blah. Look at how often, look at a show like Kendra G. The number one requested thing on there is have a passport, because instead of, and yes, I know you can do both. However, that's not likely. You know for a fucking fact that that's not likely. So don't try to call me out with saying I'm just only trying to paint a picture. No, look around. Both of these things I'm about to say are not likely to be included in one person. They rather go out and travel and experience everything else other than work within your community and build on some of the fundamental things that you already have and go from there. For example, as we see here, the food. They ain't trying to bake. They trying to go to Italy and hit up these famous shops that have baked goods there. They're not trying to make sure that they have, a home constructed a certain way and that they have, those old school Sunday dinners and all that shit. Nah. I'm trying to be pampered and soft life. Like, if you see a soft life video, how many of them are baking a fucking cake? It's usually in a hotel, a fancy one, with a glossy white tub and a bubble bath for shit. Like that's where what we've been doing the last few generations. So of course you're not going to get the same results and treatment, because one thing that goes along with that is they're going to be appreciative of things, right? They're going to be taught to be appreciative. But if all you do is say, I'll take you on a trip, because that's a thing now. I take my kids on a trip. I'll show my kids all this. And they're not appreciative of you. They're learning to be appreciative of sightseeing. Like that's not you. That's not what they get from you. Put it like this, it's the way of like if they were to have formula versus breastfed. It's not something you can really tell makes a difference, but you kind of go, probably is, because that's a big fundamental change. But most people aren't going to credit anything with that because they can't actually see it, right? Moving on.
I got time to be watching my grandkids. We used to, as millennials, spend time with the grandparents. The grandparents nowadays, they like, I ain't no babysitter. I ain't got time for that. You had them kids. I did my time. Like, they acted like it was a jail sentence. They like, I did my time. I raised my kids, and you want me?
Well, that's a combination of things. For one, grandmas today are old thoughts. I made a joke one day on the video, and nobody liked it, but I said the good women are just hoes that got old. And it's a joke, but I believe there's a lot of truth to that, because again, yes, I know it's in the men too. We're talking about taking their mothers. It's just, again, the way we just constructed our society. We've constructed in the way of everybody. You can't preach to people. I'm a millennial. You can't preach to people time and time again. Worry about your fucking self, your happiness, you. And then when they get old, it's the same shit. You. You can't like, well, where's everybody? You said fuck everybody. You didn't put it there so that there's this cohesive unit. You just said me. And then even when you raise your kids, the closer you came to a cohesive unit of everybody together is, don't forget about me. That's it. Why not? What is the point of remembering to take care of you if you've literally taught me to think about myself? How am I supposed to do all this traveling you told me to do if I got to take care of you?
To raise your kids. And what's interesting about that to me, just to be honest, and this is an observation, a lot of the Gen X parents that a lot of us millennials had help. They had a village. Many of them did. A lot of people I knew personally were raised by their grandparents. They were raised by their granddad. Nowadays,
that's not help. That's literally seeing your grandparents have to go through some shit because your parents said, I'm gonna take this off. I don't know. I'm maybe she's talking about something else she's seen, but that doesn't sound like a good thing that she just put out there.
you'd be hard pressed to hear that. Not saying that that should be the case, because if you're going to bring children into this world, they should be your responsibility. But that level of stepping up in that village, I'm not seeing that no more. What I see is everybody needs to work. So now the people who have children, they don't get that same level of help. Many other generations even were getting help from their grandparents. So they had their mom and their grandma helping them with their children. And then fast forward to now, everybody's just, hey, you're on your own. It's very individualized. So I also think that being that the children end up living their lives and they might be at the age where they have their own children, you throw in one of the parents moving in, that can be a lot. That can be a lot. And I also want to say many of the
So this sounds like that situation in which people have pointed out that when your money goes backwards, when your resources goes backwards, because you did so little planning. That's why I did the whole will thing. Like, how many are going to have a will in the situation? But because you put it to where, so you lived your life. You've had your fun, which is why grandma had the kids and you were at the club. You did your travel. You did what you wanted to do. So now, again, you're becoming just a burden. You're not seen as a part of the family. You're a burden. and we refuse to actually see this and correct it. We just simply go, you should just take care of mama. If shit doesn't change, you're going to see a lot more of this. Like, I don't understand why we don't want to put an actual solution to this, which is going to cause a huge shift in the way people live, which I guess that's why nobody wants to give up the luxury, I guess. Instead of traveling so much, you stay put and work with your community to like make sure you start getting things in place and putting your time and resources into that. But that's not fun, right? Because you have to, again, and it's not guaranteed either. And that's another thing. When you try to tell people that this is what's going to have to happen for your community to recover, your family to recover, is you're going to have to put a lot of work in, a lot of money, time, everything, and you don't get a guarantee. You tell that to people and they're just like, nigga, please, I'm not doing that. Booking this flight.
Grandmas and granddads from yesteryear, they didn't mind helping. It was almost like they loved it. Like they loved being around the grandkids. Now, these new grandparents, they be like, "Ooh, get these kids away from me." It's a different time. It really is a different time. There are definitely still.
You know, this is not an attack on her, but I believe she said that her and her husband just agreed that they weren't going to have any kids. And I'm not sure. I didn't watch this all the way through. Maybe she brought it up. Maybe she didn't. But up to this point, she hasn't. And that is interesting that she doesn't. If she doesn't, right? Because if that plays a role in that. That plays a role in the I don't want to have to take care of anybody, which is usually the reason people who get married don't want to have kids. Every now and again, you hear like, I can't bring a child into this world. It's like, shut up. Get the fuck out of here. You can't bring a child into a world with humans. Really, you're doing your kid a solid by like just not even giving them a shot. Shut up, dude. But anyway, back to this. Typically, when people who still want that lifelong partner but no children, it's the selfish thing is I want to focus on me. I don't want to have to take care of somebody else. I don't want to have to hear that crying. I don't want it's work. But that work is supposed to come back to you. As opposed to just like waiting in your last days to like, it'll at some point. But yeah, I just think it's quite interesting that she mentioned that before, but I have yet to hear that in this video. Maybe in the later half she will, but I don't think I'm going to get that. We're already at 42 minutes, and I only watch 11 minutes of this. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to watch that much of it. But maybe at the later half, if you watch yourself, you'll hear her bring that up.
Grandparents out there that have that warm, loving, old school type of feel, like they want to be present. But I don't know, y'all. It's dwindling down, to say the least. Y'all tell me, do y'all see the same thing, or am I off?
And they are absolutely never, ever wrong. That is who the new grandmas are. And y'all act like you don't see it, but you deal with it, because when you work with her or when you have to deal with her in any capacity, you don't like her toxic behind either. But you want to blame the sons. Oh, it's the sons who should be dealing with her regardless of how she treats people. That's not how adulthood works.
Now, these comments here are interesting as well. The first one says, my mother will start a fight in an empty room. Jeez. What in the world? This one here says, my parents drove 12 hours to surprise me after I went no contact. I didn't even open the door. What is going on? Anyway, it's a lot. Others saying kids are not parents.
And again, I'm hearing that as well a lot. I think I said at the beginning already, the whole no contact thing. I didn't realize that that's technically what I was doing, and I didn't know about this trend. But it's like, it's more so, okay, so to explain it briefly, maybe I'll make a whole video on it, I don't know. Briefly, I saw essentially like the map, right? So it's very relative to this. Maybe that's why I make this video. But I have two younger brothers, that's it. And they're both in their 20s. and just there's just nothing there. Like, even when I try to get him a job, all this and that, like taking him, I even drove one brother to temp services for like all day. I was off that day. I would use my day off. I'm gonna just drive you to temp services. Nothing. I could tell that when he went in for the application, immediately they was like, "Fuck no, I'm not working with you." And I could just tell because my mom did a whole thing with her mom. Like basically, like they kind of like did this whole thing like apartment house with each other, kind of weird. But I could see the writing on the wall of like, yeah, you're gonna have to take care of pretty much everybody, and they're gonna lean on you. It's like, the fuck they are, and that was part of the reason I went no contact. So it's like, I didn't. This seems to maybe just be a millennial thing. I'm not sure how much Gen Z does it. I don't think Gen Alpha is old enough yet, but this seems very, very, very like a millennial thing. Now, is that because they raised us again to be super duper selfish? Who knows? I'm sure they'll do a study on it that tells us really nothing in the near future.
Retirement plans, that might need its own dedicated video. I've been saying it, and there are people who are in my...
Okay, she mentioned kids are not retirement plans. Again, I don't like the way that that's set up, because no, I'll agree and then I'll explain why I think this is a misunderstood thing. No, you are not supposed to do what we've been talking about all video, which is live your life how you feel like it, and then just expect your kids to pick up your slack and you become a burden. That is not what you're supposed to do, because anybody in that position will feel used. They would feel like that you set them up for failure, and it gives this highly unfair feeling to any human on planet Earth to be put in that position, especially when it's a guilt trip. That's what that is in that situation. However, back to what I said before. If you all have a cohesive family, and I'm just not talking about you, your partner, and the kids. I'm talking about your extended family, your parents, stuff like that. You all are just like, you have a structure and an understanding in place of how things work. You make sure, you help each other out, blah, blah, blah. Each other, not just like this weird one-way thing where somebody's always a burden. You help each other out, and again, you have structure to that whole family unit. To where the point is like the most loosest family reunion ever, right? That in that case, I could definitely understand somebody like, alrighty, we're gonna fill out this living arrangement. Mom or pop, whoever, but in this case, mom is not gonna suffer and live on, blah blah blah. We're going to figure out how we're gonna divvy up her things and so on and so forth, and go from there. That to me would work out as a retirement plan, but it's not literally just like this whole, well, I birthed you, so bitch, allow me to be a burden.
opinion, just not living in reality. You cannot birth a person into this earth and think that you can control what they do. You don't even know if your children are going to act right in public, if you can be able to keep them off the counter, leaning all over the stuff in the store, all on the furniture. You don't know if little Jimmy is going to be unruly. You have no control over that. All you can do is be the best parent you can be, but you can't control, like, people think you can control your kids. Some parents even instill certain techniques, to say the least, to try to control their kids, and it still don't work. It still don't work because some of the kids don't care. When they get older, they're just gonna be like, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. As you can see, there are children going no contact with their parents. So imagine you thought that, hey, this child is going to be able to take care of me when I get older and I don't have to think about anything as far as my future, and I'm just going to move in with them. And a lot of the parents don't say nothing. They just, that's the plan. They're not going to tell you you're the plan, but you're the plan. You're the plan. And they're going to treat you however they're going to treat you. And then when they get older, they might expect to move into your home. And you'll be sitting there like, what? You want to move in with me? And then they were like, yeah, I'm getting old, I need help. And it wasn't even a thought in your head, but you were a thought in their head. Long ago, you were the thought in their head, You was the plan. And honestly, that's very uncomfortable for a lot of children to find out because they have whatever is going on in their life, whatever dreams or ambitions they're trying to do. There's nothing wrong with that. But then it's like a wrench thrown in your plans, and now you have to recalibrate everything. You have to think about, what am I going to do? Am I going to do anything? Am I going to help? Am I?
So that girlfriend I mentioned earlier, she was in my longest relationship. It lasted like 4 years. And I could see how the passion she had for her mom, it was mainly one of those, she kind of, she did the whole mama thing. Like her mama, like pretty much gave her that empathy that she quote unquote must have for her and all that stuff. To the point to where she thought her mom was only living in this odd, destitute house to house life because, she just kind of just wanted to, Any man would be happy to put her in a home. It was a very like odd thing that she thought about her mom. However, you could tell that in these years that I've seen them, that her mom is really just waiting on one of her kids to have like the best situation, and I'm not good at snapping, and she's right there at the door. She will be at the door. Like when I first met her, her mom was living with her mom, so her mom was living with her grandma, right? And then at some point she was living with her, my girlfriend at the time. When she had her own apartment, at some point her son ended up living with her and all his fucking kids. And by the time we broke it off, she had then bounced around to like another sister, and then like right back around to her. So it's like I don't know why they don't see it. Maybe they do. I didn't talk to her siblings. They didn't have a kumbaya either. But you could tell how this was lining up. That had her daughter, the girl I was in a relationship with, had she come into a decent situation, she would have pounced on that. But at the same time, she didn't properly give, from what I see, any of her kids the proper things to build on to get to that point where she wants them, right? Like she was she kind of like she talked shit about what it sounds like was the best daughter, the daughter that was in the best situation. That's what it sounded like. Meaning one time I'm on the phone with my girlfriend, and then I hear her mother, because her daughter, one of her daughters was coming over with her husband, the only one that was married, and they were going to give her a ride somewhere or something. And this lady was talking shit about her daughter's husband. I mean, just dogging him, because he works at a potato chip factory. And it's like, but they literally they're the only people willing to give you a fucking ride. Like that, like this, like it builds that type of, you're going to have resentment in that type of situation. Now I haven't talked to them in like obviously a long ass time, like 6-7 years or some shit like that. However, but the point is it in those situations, it doesn't really bode well for that lady or women like her, because people, you don't think that they understand when they see you talk shit about this person. You don't think in their head, they start thinking, well, damn, who don't you talk shit about? I do less for you than them, so I know you talk shit about me. And you just see this pattern, and a lot of the Gen X moms, I think, are going to end up in like some really weird situations where they're going through shit like this, because I'm not sure if the boomers did, but I know for a fact. But that being the generation that raised us, Generation X was just ass. They were just pieces of shit. They took so much parenting off, it's fucking ridiculous. Man, I really would like somebody to do a fucking study documentary on Gen X and their parenting skills, because they were just ass. Pure, like, it was bad. The type of work that they did as parents.
Gonna possibly have to figure out some other options so the parents can be okay. It's an additional thing that a lot of people don't even see coming until it's here. It's just like right in front of you, and then you're scrambling. And some people do, and I want to be sure to articulate this correctly. There are people who do want to take care of their parents, and they simply cannot do it because the cost of living is too high. Elderly care also extremely expensive, and I think more parents need to look into these things, especially if they're not healthy. If they have not been taking care of their health, and you are in fact the plan, and they have been mistreating their bodies or not doing the things that the doctor telling you to eat better, do this, do a walk, and you not doing absolutely nothing, and you think you just gonna move in with the kids, that might not be an option for you. That might not be an option depending on physically how you've been upkeeping the body. There's a lot of factors that go into stuff, because when people talk about moving in with the children, they think about it like, I can just move in, like you're a little small toddler that's fine walking around with no issues. And that's not the case for a lot of elderly people. You might be fragile, you might be frail, and that's understandable. There's no shame in getting old. That's a blessing. But what I'm saying is, when a lot of elderly people do not consider their health and how their health might affect others, that can be a problem. You might not even be able to be taken care of by your children. Physically, if you got a bad back and your child got a bad back, how they gonna help you up? Who gonna get who off the ground? You got a bad hip, they got a bad knee, and they gotta go to work, and they might have children, and a dog, and debt, and bills, and stress, and also probably might not even have any resources given to them by their own parent who is expecting them to take care of them, so everything has to come from them. There is a lot to think about with this, and I think as a family, people have to be serious. I don't know why it is that people don't like talking about this stage in life, like it's not going to happen if you get older, but I just think it's the responsible thing to do. Have that conversation with your children. The children shouldn't have to be coming up to you asking you if they're the plan when you know they're the plan. Like, you know it. You know you don't have anything put aside, and you're going to surprise them when they're 35.
So I'm not going to go through the rest of this video, because again, she has 12 more minutes left, and I'm already at an hour. But to piggyback off the last things that she said, which is, I just want to ask the question: is it wrong to look at your parents who did this to you and say, "Good luck"? I understand people will say you're just supposed to take care of them, but we're in a time right now where, as I said, an entire generation, maybe more, just took parenting off. Hell, they took life off. They did the whole thing about the now, and then you were just the future. That was it. They weren't saving up to help you take care of them. They didn't put you in the best position. You had to do it yourself. Get it out the mud, right? Is it wrong to look at them when they knock on your door and say, "You're not coming here"? I don't know who brought you here, but you might want to call them back. How wrong is that if, in fact, they did this to you as a parent? Be right, not positive. I'm out.